Hello everybody. Alright, I think we are live. Welcome to 2 for Flying. We are today going to be flying our Airbus A321 all the way from Las Vegas, which is right here, to San Diego, California. So what I'm showing you here is my Navigraph screen. The airplane is completely cold and dark. We have GPU set up already. That's the only thing. It's GPU connected and it's loaded. But the rest, it's cold and dark, and we are going to be setting it up through the entire flight. However, I would like to begin this flight with a short briefing, because then you all know what we are going to be doing. So my setup is I have the computer running the flight sim, but I have a tablet with this screen, what you see right here, on as well. And I'm going to be using it to have approach plates and stuff. This program is called Navigraph Charts. It's brought to you by Navigraph. It's not sponsored. I'm paying for the subscription myself. It's really useful when you want to be flying procedurally. If you're flying VFR, it doesn't really matter that much, but if you are ever flying instrument procedures, you want this kind of stuff. As you can see, you have airport diagram. You can see we're parked over there currently. We have SIDS, stars, approaches, and they're all Jeppesen plates, so I'm used to those in flight school as well. It's really useful to be using the same ones and not Lido charts or anything like that. Alright, without any further ado, I'm gonna get into our briefing. So we're taking off Las Vegas 26 right, following the Mach 8 departure, which brings us out to level, right here. Then lucky 1 arrival for a Rnf Yankee approach on runway 27 in San Diego. So Las Vegas, I'm using the default scenery. It's okay, but San Diego, I am using custom scenery. It's, I think, the Mr. X one, if I'm not mistaken. If I am mistaken, yeah, just look at the, it's freeware for sure, but go look in the explain.org forums if you want to see which one I am using. We're going to be flying the Star in here, coming from level there, lucky, and then we have the approach, and it's an RNF approach. On the 27 side, all of the approaches are non-precision, which means that we don't have any vertical guidance. And we had 3 options. We had the RNF Yankee, the RNF Zulu, and the VOR runway 27, and I decided to take the RNF Yankee approach since it's convenient that we start straight off from Lindy, the initial approach fix, if you can see there. It's still it is 2D, so we're gonna be having to focus on our altitude a lot more and have some nice hand flying probably. And what else can I say about it? It's localizer performance, whilst the other one is older and this one is a bit more modern, I have the feeling, the Yankee compared to the Zulu. Alright, I think in terms of route briefing, that should be fine. Well, I didn't check my weather yet, so I will do that immediately. Let's see what our weather briefing says. I can't show you because it's on my other screen and I don't have that up here, but I can explain what's gonna be going on once I get some charts up here. Weather-wise, big picture, looks like we're gonna be facing some headwinds. Yeah, all headwinds coming straight in. They're even gonna turn with us once we turn south to west. Headwinds are, yeah, they're gonna stay there. Let's see what else is showing. No significant weather. Absolutely no significant weather. That's perfect. And tropopause at flight level 390, so we're going to be below tropopause for sure. That is fine. Alright, that's big picture weather done, and I'm going to go get myself some METARs. While I do that, I might as well go get into the cockpit. Alright, welcome aboard the flight deck of Frontier Flight 2127? Yes, Flight 2127 with service to San Diego. And our METARs are coming up right now. I'm taking it nice and slow, getting everything set up correctly. And I want to show you how I do this stuff. So, Las Vegas, weather 0806 knots is the wind. Don't know if we should be using the runway that we picked. We picked runway 26. Whilst there's 8s as well. But it's 6 knots, so we can leave it as is. There's no real need to change. It's fine. 6 knots is fine. And weather, that's what I was doing. Then 10 statute miles of visibility or more, clear skies, temperature 12 minus 16 is the dew point. Let's see, QNH, altimeter 3037, and that's it. Forecast looks fine. San Diego, similar, no clouds, winds 2704 knots, forecast variable at 4. And no changes in the forecast. So weather-wise, perfect weather for flying. Absolutely no issues except for our headwind. So to compensate, I brought 45 minutes of extra fuel on top of all of our legal minima, which is something I like to do, but now we have a really good reason to do that. Alright, and I would say that's our briefing done. I'm really happy with how this looks. We can get our airplane set up. Alright, let's go up into the overhead. We can verify that we are on external power, and then we can go align our IRSs. So we select nav with our switches. There's 3 IRSs. We wait until the on bat light disappears, and we do the same with the rest. I think I should have done 2 first and then 3. First 1, then 2, then 3, but it's fine. And then until the last on bat light, that's fine. Check that these are all extinguished. We want this to captain and purser on. Ground control for the recorder on. This all dark. Check our lighting. Maybe a little loud. Apu Fire Test. We can only do this when the APU is off, obviously, and it's off. Same goes for the engines. Or we should only do it when the engines are off. Hydraulic panel is black. Everything here is black. It's perfectly fine. This Gen 1 and 2 faults are on and normal. Passenger and air conditioning. We are carrying 217 passengers, so that's more than the maximum for econ flow, so we'll leave it on. Engine bleeds are all normal. This is all normal, and everything is automatic. Anti-ice will not be required. Probe heat is auto. Cabin pressure is all selected. We will go strobes to auto. Beacon light can stay off. Navs to 1. These can stay off. Get these lights a bit brighter. Dome lights to bright. Seatbelt sign on, and no smoking sign. Auto emergency lights armed. This looks fine. Flight control computers are all fine, and let's activate our 3rd radio there. There's 2 radios in the bottom that are our primary radios, and then we have the other one down there. Alright, let's continue our setup. Get this radio on. These lights on. Weather radar, we'll go auto 5 degrees up for our initial climb. Off still, and predictive wind shear on. Speed brake as required. Cockpit door, we can lock the cockpit door, or we can have it in normal. Parking brake is set. This is all set. Transponder, we are not using any air traffic control, so I can leave it on the standard instrument squawk of 2000. We'll go on, and in the mode we'll go above for our climb, and then we're not moving yet, so we'll leave it off for now. Turn on the 3rd radio. Get everything set up here. Auto brake's not required yet. And that looks like we did all of this setup. Then we can start initializing our flight management and guidance system. So first we want to get these lights up and bright. Same goes for our first officer's display. Also, maybe I want to have the ECAM lights up and my first officer's PFD and navigation display. Bit important. 1 second. I am not getting any chat information, so I want to see if anyone is sending any messages. Probably not, but it's always nice to have that visible. Why is that not showing? Is it working? I'm not sure. Nope, it's not working. Why? Alright, so I won't be seeing if you let me know anything in the chat because it's not working. Anyway, it's fine. I'm gonna continue through the stuff. I'm gonna continue through. Let's brighten up these displays. We need to get our flows ready. Looks like it's a little dark as well, our image. I don't know why that is. I thought there was this overlay on top already, this filter. Let's try to fix this maybe. Video. Filters 1 already there. Can we see better? Obviously, that's important that you guys can see what's going on. Alright, all these little kinks worked out. Let's get into our systems here. Okay, we can clear this message, that's fine. Okay, we are flying A321 with a CFM 56 engines. AirX cycle 2102 is current, it's brand new and current, so and no performance numbers here, so that's perfect. Now we will go in it, load a flight plan, which in our case is K-LAS to K-SAN. There's Lima Alpha Sierra to Sierra Alpha November. Select this, and our alternate today is LAX. So KLAX. There it is. That's a bit annoying. Oh, that's wrong. That's not what I want. Wrong line select key. That's can happen, but it's a bit of an amateur move. Alternate there, and we are Frontier. So Fox Tango 2127. That is our flight number. Cost index is calculated by SimBrief today, the magnificent and wonderful SimBrief, who make it possible to plan these routes without much of a hassle. And they're recommending 5 to be our cost index, so we'll do that. Cruising at flight level 320, which we will also enter. And we can check. Oh, that was wrong. Our lat long positions with what our gate position is. So I want to go airport to parking gate coordinates, concourse D. We are parked at 40. And 40 should give us north 3604.8, 3604.8, west 1158.4. Perfect. That is exactly what we have on our display, so we can align our IRS with these numbers, and we will request our wind for our climb. Alright, that is set up. Now, next, we will go through our flight plan. Starting in Las Vegas, departure on runway 26 right, if I'm not mistaken. Let's cross-check. 26 right is the one we want, even in these winds. Should be fine. Might be interesting. 26 right via the BOAC 8 departure. Level transition. I will enter that in our flight plan. And we'll continue through level San Diego. So San Diego will select arrival. Rnf 27 Yankee approach via the Lucky 1 Star, Lucky 1 arrival via Lindy with the... Is there a transition for the Star? It's a level transition, but it's not selecting. Oh, there's level transition. Right, we'll do the same. Insert in the flight plan here. So it tells us Selma Jotnu. Jotnu should be the second to last point on the departure. Jotnu level, and then on the arrival it should be level Chad, which is correct, and then we can continue. A Lucky Lindy, and that's the transition to the arrival, the approach. San Diego 27, missed approach is also in there. I'm not going to go through all of them because it should be fine. All right, that is checked. GPS primary indicates that our IRSs have aligned. Only the number 2 still has to align, but that is checked. We are on GPS primary, and I can cancel these messages out. And last way to absolutely cross-check that our flight plan is in there, we'll go plan mode and go through the entire thing if it looks exactly like we are expecting it to. I maybe want to turn on constraints, and then it will show us the numbers as well. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'm convinced that it's correct. We are in a sim, so I'm gonna assume that it all works. We can go RadNav. Check out what departure we are flying. Do we need any radio beacons? No, it's completely Rnf departure. So everything in here can be auto-selected. I am perfectly happy with that. Next up is secondary flight plan. We'll copy the active flight plan into the secondary, and let's leave it like this. We can always change it when we need to, but I'm not expecting any issues unless something really bad happens. Alright, next we can go back to init, but the B page now, and I will open my EFB thingy here so that we have our numbers. And the numbers I mean is a zero fuel weight of 71.8, which is the passengers, cargo, and the airplane, everything without fuel. So we're gonna enter 71.8, and then our zero fuel weight center of gravity position is 30.6% aft of datum. So percent mean aerodynamic chord. Yeah, I'm used to having inches aft of datum. But this is 30.6% MAC. So it's 30.6 we want to enter here as well, behind the slash. Entered in there, block fuel of 8.6 tons. And then we can see we have an hour and a half to spare in the flight plan like it is now. Then we can go to performance and we will do our takeoff calculations here. See what it gives. Let's go flaps 2 with the active flight plan, so it knows Las Vegas runway 26 right. And then we can enter these values. So flaps 2, stabilizer position is down 0.8, so we'll go Delta November 0.8. Flex takeoff temperature 36 degrees centigrade. Engine out acceleration. Let's see what our MSA is here in the departure. Whew, it's 13,200. That's high. I guess that's what we'll have to climb to because there's a lot of terrain around. So it will be 13,200 for our thrust reduction height. Ooh, that is something. If we have an engine, no, it's engine out acceleration, correction. Thrust reduction we can do sooner, but because we can't climb with one engine during the acceleration phase of our takeoff, we have to take our minimum altitude that we are able to level off at, which is MSA. So our V speeds are 145 for V1, 145 for rotate, and 148 is our V2. Transition altitude here in the United States, 18,000 feet, and thrust reduction acceleration we will leave standard. Alright, looking good. Let's continue with the startup. What did I say that our altimeter was? Our altimeter is 3037. And we first have to switch to inches of mercury. 3037. Want inches here as well. And 3037 is selected and set. Perfect. Alright, we'll go through this entire thing. So, Rnf Departure, we don't need anything here. Speed managed, heading managed, altitude. First altitude we climb to. There is a restriction on 26, right, gives us a restriction of 13,000 or above. Initial climb, let's see what it says. Top altitude flight level 190. So we'll select, if you want to know, I was looking at my standard instrument departure plate there, which gave me the exact altitude I should set up here. Normally ATC gives you this, but since we don't have any air traffic control here, we have to do it ourselves. And vertical speed dashes as well. Constraint is on, our landing system is on, this is all as required. Landing system here as well, these can go off, and I want airport for my first officer. Looking good. Alright, we are in takeoff, he can go into flight plan mode, and then we are ready for startup. So we'll have to start our APU first. We can do that without clearance, so we'll go APU master switch on. And whilst we wait for our APU to fire up, we will, for our APU flap to open, not to fire up, we are going to pre-plan our pushback. So what is it looking like? We should move over here. That's for sure. And this is looking nice.
Round to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Roger, perfect. Thank you very much for helping us out here. There, this APU flap is open. We can press APU Start, and our APU Start sequence will commence automatically. And I guess all we can do is monitor now. So it's basically a little jet engine. It has a percentage of of rotation and an exhaust gas temperature. Once we get to 100%, we can open the bleed valve and the generator. Then we can disconnect the external power. Oh, I have this up here as well. I'm not going to be using AviTap today because I have my own real life tablet here. It's mostly for VR stuff, I think, that it's useful. Should become available pretty soon. Available, so we'll go Apu generator on. That's off. It should be on automatically, and then we'll do Apu Bleed on and disconnect our GPU. Alright, that is fine. Ready for pushback. We will go beacon on. All doors closed, and we will call our guy, saying we are ready for pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Alright. I am using better pushback, as you saw before. I like the way that they perform their pushbacks. I remember when I first started doing X-Plane, this thing didn't exist yet, and I was struggling with the plugins. Keep trying to find a good one to get everything done, but yeah, to no avail. Occasionally I had to reverse out of the stand, power back, but in a plane like this it's really not an option. Pushback guy is driving up.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
Alright, clear to connect. And as we are doing that, we can turn our transponder. Let's take a good look at this panel. That's the one I want. Get this transponder to transponder. Alright. Excellent.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Alright, we will release our parking brake. Parking brake released.
Starting pushback, and you may start
Oh,
engine.
what's this? Alright, starting number 2, then number 1. Alright, engine starts. So we'll go engine start, selector, ignition start, starting number 2. Number 2. Now we monitor our engine page. See if all the values are about right. I talked a lot about the engine starts in the previous videos. I'm not gonna keep repeating myself. If you want to know a bit more about what to look for when you're monitoring an engine start, I would gladly refer you to one of my previous videos. I'm pretty curious to what this guy is doing. Let's take a look outside. What the hell's going on? Sometimes this pushback guy does some strange stuff. Look now, it's perfectly fine pushing it back. Am I pushing back in the wrong direction? No. No way. Did I actually ask him to push me back this way? I can't believe it. No way that I did like this. Anyway, our engine is started and stable, so we'll go start number 1. Sound here faintly is the PTU, maybe. This sound is the PTU. We can watch the engine start from here as well. And it's the hydraulic power transfer unit, and it's actually a hydraulic pump slash yeah, a pump that works using hydraulic pressure to pressurize a hydraulic system. So you have 3 hydraulic systems in the Airbus, and there is one powered by one engine, the other powered by the other, and one powered by electrical systems. It's really an oversimplification, but if you're just using, if one engine is not running and there is a difference in pressure between the 2 systems, the PTU will use one system's hydraulic pressure to power the other. That's basically it. If you want to know more, leave a comment. I will gladly let you know. If you don't want to know, that's fine as well. Looks like we are working out anyway. This is exactly where I wanted to be, so kudos to the guy getting us there eventually.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Alright. Parking brake set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Roger. After start checklist. Engine mode selector is normal. Apu Bleed off. Speed brakes armed. Flaps. I will wait for flaps. We'll go auto brakes max. Anti-ice not required. And Apu switch off. Now we have to wait until we see the pin, which means that we can get our flaps down and start moving.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the right. We'll see you next time and have a great flight.
Alright, thank you very much for pushing, and see you on the right side and talk to you later. So what they mean by see you on the right side is they will have their pin, so they'll drive up to the right, show their red flagged pin, and then we know that our nose wheel bypass pin has been removed. There it is. Great. So we'll go flaps 2 for departure. Selected. Flight control check. Select flight control here. Full forward. Checked. Aft. Checked. Left. Checked. Right. Checked. Rudder left. And rudder right. Checked. Now, it doesn't show up here, but that's only because I have the nose wheel tiller bound to my roll axis on there. Alright, we will select terrain on navigation display as well, because we want to have that. And we can start taxiing. So we are cleared for taxi. Let's say we are taxiing via Charlie to holding point Bravo of runway 26, right. Nose light is to taxi, and then parking brake released. A bit of power checked. We'll check our brakes and they are operational. So we need a left turn that way on Charlie or Bravo, maybe. They're parallel, so it doesn't really matter. Nice that we are finally moving after, let's see, 40 minutes, 45 minutes it took me to get everything arranged, including a bit of delay before we got going. Takes a long time. I'm not that fluent yet, apparently. Making that left turn on Charlie. And we are going to continue down Charlie. That's the easiest way to do. Alright, whilst we are moving, we can alert our cabin crew that they are supposed to be ready. They are ready, and then we'll press takeoff config, and it's normal. So ECAM no blue for takeoff. We are moving at a swift 18 knots ground speed, even though we are at completely idle power. Alright, coming up. Charlie 1 here. Still on Charlie, we will continue all the way down. Taxi with Charlie, it's gonna turn slight right and join Bravo, and then we'll go to holding point Bravo of 26 right and hold short. Or at least that is the plan. Quick check of our minimum takeoff fuel. Minimum takeoff fuel is 5,789 kilos, and as long as we're above that, we are fine. 2.5 tons extra, it's a bit much maybe. But it's a simulator, I'm not paying for the gas, and no one is, so if there was an airline paying for the gas, then I might make different decisions. Okay, we're a little bit fast, but it's one big straight taxiway, and I don't want to waste any more time on the ground. I want to get airborne and actually have some fun flying. That's Bravo 1, and we want to continue down Bravo. Slow it down for this turn. We want to be about 15 knots, maybe 10 might be best. Yes, 11 is still fine. And we're gonna go that way, and there is the hold short bar. Alright, once we are stopped, I will do a brief before takeoff check. Switch on some lights, switch on our transponder, and make sure that everything is ready to go. Alright, we are short of the runway, parking brake set before takeoff. Check that our tires are fine. We want tires, wheel. Temps are fine. Engine mode normal. Packs on. Exterior lights. Runway turn-offs come on. Landing lights come on. Let's say we are clear for takeoff, so our landing lights come on. And nose wheel to takeoff. Strobe lights to on. Then what else is required is just our transponder to TARA. Right, clear for takeoff, runway 26 right. And line up. Start the timer. We're going to perform a rolling takeoff. So once we are almost completely lined up with the runway, I will apply 50% power. Once we see that we have both engines stabilized, I will go to man flex in our takeoff detent the throttle, and I'll perform our takeoff. Alright, selecting 50% N1. Engines are stable. Takeoff. Man flex 36 SRS runway auto thrust blue. What that is everything that's enunciated on our flight mode enunciator there. Apply some forward pressure on the side stick until we reach 80 knots, when we can start relieving that pressure, aiming to be completely neutral at 100 knots. There's 80 and 100 knots. Oh, want to keep on the center line, obviously. V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. That tailwind has picked up quite significantly. Nav is enunciated. Alright. $1,000. Lever to climb. Auto thrust. Speed is checked, we'll go flaps 1. Still climbing straight out. Straight out to Rebel. They want our nose a bit lower, but like to climb a bit more maybe. Get some audio that you can actually hear what's going on. There's Rebel. Checking Roper now. There's our flaps retracting. And we are above S speed, we'll go flaps up. So our leading edge device is also retracting now. Alright, after takeoff, lights, speed brake, initial items checked, and we'll do our checklist soon. Right, climb restricted up to 7,000 initially via the SID. It's indicated here. I have it on my chart as well. At Roper we want to be between 4,800 and 7,000 feet. It looks like we climb a bit more. Ooh. What was that? Okay, speed altitude constraint. Getting thrown about a bit. Alright. Gotta watch that altitude. Just 200 to go, still on our QNH of 3037. Starting our turn, direct, Rodo, no altitude restriction. Boac is next, 30,000 or above. Alright, Rodo, so thrust climb, climb. And we resume our climb with our climb pitch attitude. Still flying manually, by the way. Probably can tell. A little fast. Below 10,000 you want to be below 250 knots. But that's because my nose has been a little low. I'm correcting for that. Looks like we're clear of most terrain. But as long as we're not above 13,200, I'll leave terrain on navigation display on. Approaching 10,000 feet. Alright, there we'll go landing lights off. And seatbelt sign can come off. It's really smooth air, so we don't need our passengers in their seats. As long as I can fly it smoothly, it's fine. I like flying it manually, so I'm gonna do that. Alright, and as you can see, above 10,000 feet, our speed restriction is dropped, and our airplane starts to accelerate, therefore reducing our rate of climb a little bit. Now, this number here that just appeared there is a Mach number, and a Mach number is our speed in terms of a percentage of the speed of sound. So we are slightly over halfway down to the speed of sound. Slightly over half the speed of sound. Why is this important? As you climb higher, at the same airspeed, the speed of sound reduces. So our Mach number would increase. And we don't want to go faster than the speed of sound in this airplane. Not even anywhere near. Because if we go faster, air over the wings is accelerated. And the air over the wings is going faster than the airplane itself. So it might be that if the airplane goes under the speed of sound, the air over the wings would break the sound barrier, and you would have all sorts of strange aerodynamic effects. And that's why we have a maximum Mach number that the airplane is certified for, which we don't ever want to exceed, because you start breaking stuff. Alright, I think that's enough hand flying. Let's get our autopilot on. AP1 on. And AP1 is enunciated. Great, great. Alright, next step is, we passed our altitude that I said I was going to turn this off, so I'm going to turn it off. But next step is at 18,000 feet, I want to select standard barrow, which means that we will be flying at the flight levels. And let's also say that we have been in contact with, this case, Los Angeles Center, I think. Let's see what the chart says. What ever area control center we are in, it doesn't really matter. We would have been in contact with center controllers, and they would have cleared us up to flight level 320. So we're going to select 320 in our altitude window. The airplane now knows that it can climb up all the way to its cruising altitude, and we are also going to increase our range on the display that we can see a bit of our route. Perfect. This blue arrow is our top of climb. At that point we will be at our altitude, our cruising altitude. We are still flying in the departure, however. It's no longer scaled on the chart, so I don't have the moving map anymore, but it's not that important. I know exactly where I am anyway. And we will absolutely not have any time in the cruise. It's straight back down once we get there. Not straight back down, but pretty straight back down. Maybe we can even see it if we expand here. Can we see our top of descent? Yeah. So you can see that is our bit in the cruise. Absolutely not much. once we get Zelma, it might be worth getting our descent data in already. Oh, I forgot. We passed 18,000 feet. Let's go standard. That was my mistake. We didn't level off at the wrong altitude. As long as you don't do stuff like that, it should be fine. But of course you would like to be on top of your things. You are usually two of you, so if one doesn't see, the other should. And I was distracted by talking to you guys about how short of a cruise lag we were gonna have, so I was a bit too far ahead. I'm gonna do a quick weather update. Let's see what our weather is going to be like in San Diego. Wind 0103 knots. It shifted a bit. It's 40 degrees. No, it's more. It's 100 degrees off, but it's only 3 knots, so we're gonna keep the same approach. It's a lot shorter for us as well. And let's see. 10 statute miles of visibility, no cloud, 24 degrees. Altimeter 3016, and no remarks that are of interest. Alright. Weather is great then. Let's go in here. Next phase. Cruise is managed. Descent managed. Approach. We will enter this data. 3016 for the QNH. Aha, I need that decimal point. I'm used to the European ones, where you don't need the decimal point. Temperature 24. Wind 0103 knots. Transition level is fine. We'll go config full, and the approach has an MD8 of, so our minimum descent altitude of 680. So we want that in here as well. 680 in the MDA section. Compared to minimums for an ILS decision height, it's a minimum descent altitude for our non-precision approach. It's very important. It's also not a CDFA approach. And I don't think we can do this one CDFA because it's not published. We are going to do it as published to make everything easier. And then on the go around, this makes sense. Our engine out is going to be missed approach is 2500, so we want 2500 up here as well. Oh. Checked. We're still in the climb and we've done part of our before descent stuff already. It's a little amusing maybe. I had an instructor tell me this. Not me personally, but an instructor was saying, oh, I had some students. They were already starting to plan their approach before they even got to the top of climb. But when you manage a big plane like this, I think if you're just on your own, it's not a bad thing to be ahead. Which is why I did it. In hindsight, we might have had some time. But you never know. Let's take a quick look at what we want our altitude to be. Initial approach fixed at 5,000, so our descent is going to be to 5,000. And as you can see, we have a very, very slight headwind. The forecast was a lot worse than it's actually showing. It's only 12 knots. So our ground speed is still 409. It's picking up a little bit though. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Alright, I think this is a good time to start doing our descent brief. Our briefings. So we're gonna be flying from level down the lucky one arrival. First restriction is MOMAR between flight level 240 and flight level 260. Next, desert between 190 then 230. Then Trixie at 270 knots between 14,000 and 12,000 feet. And then it's only other above. Except Lucky is at 6,000. Lucky 6,000 and then Lindy at 210 knots, 5,000 feet or above. So we want to be 5,000 feet at Lindy that we can start our approach at the perfect altitude. That is our goal. Then our approach briefing. Weather in San Diego is nice, no toms. I did check in advance, nothing is written about this approach. Then fuel, we have sufficient fuel for the approach, for missed approach, and diversion to LAX in case we need to. And we can do another approach. We can do 2 attempts in San Diego and then we can go to LA if we need to. Briefing, so flying the Rnf Yankee approach, runway 27 in San Diego, with frequencies for comms are not required. Final approach course is going to be 275. It's a GPS approach, so no primary navigate required. Although we might want to have Mission Bay DME up. Might be a good idea. Let's get Mission Bay in our VOR 1. So we'll go in here. RadNav VOR 1. 117.8 is Mission Bay. 7.8. Selected. See if we get anything. Nothing yet. It's fine. We're still quite a while out. Alright, that's set up. MSA is 5,400, which means that our missed approach is not going to bring us up high enough for that, but we are going to be holding over the ocean if we fly the missed approach, so no need to worry about that. Our profile so is Lindy at 5,000, then from Lindy descend 4,000 to Vida, then 3,600 to O'Kane, and 2,700 to Charlie India Juliet Hotel India, however you pronounce it. Then descend to 2,000, and then intercept a 3.5 degree glide at Rebo. This 3.5 degree glide should bring us down to minimums of 680. And we don't have any vertical guidance, and I don't see a table of altitude versus distance, which is a little bit annoying. Normally you get a nice table, altitude versus distance, then you can calculate, you can see at what point you should be at what altitude, but this doesn't give me any. So I need to get about 1,000 feet a minute apparently. We're going to be around 860 feet a minute is what it's saying that our descent rate should be. So we're approaching our altitude there. It's 400 to go. Standard is set. What else is there to be done? So our briefing is we need 1.25 statute mile of visibility. So that's complete alt start. Mach is what we are enunciating up here. And we have 10 statute miles or more visibility, so no approach band is in place, and missed approach will be climbing to 2,500 feet direct SARGs and hold. And the holding entry is going to be parallel or a teardrop, but I'm going to prefer parallel or whatever the airplane gives me if we get it on automatics before that. On inbound 095 from SARGs and a 5-mile leg. Alright. Looking great, great, great. Our top of descent is 24 miles away. So in a very, very short while I'll select 5,000 in our altitude preselector, which means that we can start our descent once we reach the top of descent. So keep an eye on that more. So our briefing is complete. And we're actually in the star now. From Lucky on to Chant. Or Chat. Alright, we are 15 miles out. I'm gonna select 5,000 feet on our altitude preselector. 50 miles at this speed is really not that far. So, absolutely every reason to get ahead of the game. We can actually even start our descent already, but I want to get a little closer to the profile. At 5 miles I want to be descending. Let's say that. Yeah, we're a little bit below the profile, but as long as we're cleared for that descent, it's fine. And we should be cleared for that descent, so. And we are very visual with the terrain, so there isn't any terrain here either, so that shouldn't be an issue either. 10 miles out, or 11. Alright, we have Mike Zulu Bravo, which is Mission Bay, indicating 106 miles away. I don't know what the DOC of this VOR is. I'm guessing we can use it. It's not anyway, it's not our primary navigation aid, so it's just advisory indications that we are using it for to get more situational awareness. Because it's very easy to follow your green line to your destination. However, if something happens to be wrong with that green line, you want to have a way to know. And the only way to really know is if you see something that doesn't make sense. And the needle is pointing towards Mission Bay and it's pointing towards the way that we're going. So I don't see any reason why it wouldn't make sense. 5 miles, let's start our descent. We'll go pull here, descent. Altitude is amber, purple actually, not amber. Throttles go to idle. We start our descent. Get everyone strapped in. Because we're also experiencing a little bit of shakiness. I have done more thorough, detailed flights before, where I explained every little thing, and I did do a little bit of some explaining now, but I didn't go into much detail because obviously you can always go watch one of my previous streams or part of it if you want to see specific part of a flight. I do recommend doing that because it's all pretty similar content. Okay, there it is, our glide coming in. It's all pretty similar content, except the destinations are different and the procedures might be a bit different. I think this is the first non-precision approach we've done on the channel, or we are going to do on the channel. Okay, thrust idle. It's indicating there, and we have 240 as our first restriction at Momar, which is our next waypoint. Okay, it's indicating Rnf approach, and let's go through our checklist. Next items is going to be at 10,000, no, correction, at 18,000 feet, where we will be needing, oh, my bad, where we will be needing to switch to our transition to our QNH, which was 3016, if I'm not mistaken. Altimeter 3016, yes, correct. I'm going to set that up. when we get there. We're not there yet by a long shot, so. Is this the Salton Sea? I think this might be the Salton Sea. Interesting story about this thing. Apparently, it accidentally formed due to some farmers irrigating. So it was an accident, and then people thought, why not use the accident to lure tourists in? So they built resorts, and then the sea started to evaporate and get really salty and really unhealthy, and no one went here anymore. I don't know if tourists ever came here, but all I know is that they don't go there anymore. There isn't really anything to see except abandoned resorts. A little bit of the story of the Salton Sea. I think Tom Scott, this YouTuber guy, who I really recommend, but Tom Scott made a video about this probably, I think, if I'm remembering this correctly. Yeah, once you're done with the stream, go watch that one, if you want to know more about the Salton Sea at least. And if you want to know more about how to fly VFR bush trips, you can find a little mini series on my channel where I did some streams in Microsoft Flight Simulator doing the VFR bush trip, and you'll find the ending is quite surprising. Alright, we are making our turn at Momar, means our altitude restrictions should change to flight level 190. Question is, will it? Still 2-4. Once this moves over, it should also do that there. There it is, desert, flight level 190, checked. Okay, we're going to be crossing a bit of terrain. I'm going to get my terrain radar on. I did forget to set TCAS to below. So let's... Oh, wrong button. This works. Set it to below. Looks like there's a speed restriction there. Oh no, it's just altitude. Okay, if it's just altitude, that's fine. Speed restriction is only there. 270 at Turixie. I don't understand what the flight control computer is doing. So what we have here is obviously we're a little slow, but we're also high. So slow and high, they resolve each other. So it doesn't make sense that it's not trying to resolve. In order to resolve our ambiguity, we'll go to flight control, see if it's doing anything. Well, they look pretty stable. I don't get any ECAM messages either. And it's not like it's going out of control. So we'll monitor this, and as long as we don't have any issues, it should be fine. Might be a little quirk. Maybe icing as well. Although we are definitely not in any visible moisture, I could turn on our surface de-ice, which is our wing de-ice. Our anti-ice rather. It's bleed air, so it's anti-icing, not de-icing. But it's not gonna detect anything because there shouldn't be any ice. 190, but we're coming up on the next one. Next restriction is 12,000 feet. We're approaching 180, so we should be aware of the change in altimeter setting. That's what I was trying to say. It's not doing anything, and I don't mind us being a little high. Then we have to descend less, level off less, correction. And we use this leveling off to reduce our speed already to 270 knots. That's really, really smart of our airplane. Coming up 18,000 feet. Altimeter 3016. Set. And in the standby as well. I want a QNH value that matches, because this is a QNH. And we are getting an altitude 17,800. Okay, this looks like it matches with the altitude that we have indicated. I don't have a ready calculation or a rule of thumb to get from inches to hectopascals, but you normally shouldn't. This should be in inches as well if you're flying here in the United States. Alright, next Trixie, 14,000, 12,000. We're 16,600. So we need a little bit more to go before we fit through that restriction. That should be fine. A little bit of terrain on our radar, and we can see that ahead as well. Should still be clear because we are flying the Star. Shouldn't be any issues with terrain clearance. This has calculated the obstacle clearance and everything that you need already beforehand. Alright, whilst we're in the descent, I am going to check my training schedule. See if they planned me for anything. I don't think so, but nope, nothing. Alright, then it's fine. Every night I do a quick check before it gets too late to plan something. It would be already quite late to start planning a flight, but yeah, I'm not planned, so no worries. 15,000 feet, so 1,000 to go for the restriction. 3016 is set. It is looking like California, which makes sense because we're flying over California. Southern California, at least. A little deserty. Doesn't model any forest fires. I don't know if there's any wildfires at the moment. I don't think so. Yeah, there's a lot of winter, but when I was in the United States, you could see the smoke. I was in Arizona, and I could still see the smoke from the California wildfires. That's how big they were. Alright, 13.5, so we are within our window of altitude restrictions at 270 knots exactly. So we can pass Trixie. Next waypoint is Husker without any restrictions. It should be just 8,700 or above. Okay, so we can't descend below 8,700, which is gonna be the next thing here. There is a restriction, so well, I misspoke a little. There, 8,700. Alright, everything is nice and stable. Do our approach checks here a bit. Speed managed, checked. Alright, 10,000 feet coming up. Lights on. And seatbelt sign is on. 10,000 feet checks are done. Now we're slowing down to 250 knots for our speed restriction, but it's the autopilot doing it. And nothing required here. As you can see, we're still on profile, so I don't need any drag to slow us down. Alright, looking good. Let's go manual flight and auto thrust. So manual flight. My controls. Why is it telling me AP off? Okay, that's fine. Checked. Next restriction is going to be 6,100 feet at Hannah. So Barrett is 8,000 or above. Hannah is 6,100 or above. Hannah, keep the descent going. And it might be worth getting flaps 1, so we'll go. We'll have to select speed to 20. In that case, we can go flaps 1 pretty soon. Yeah, 6,000 at Hannah. Then Lindy is our initial approach fix. So at Lindy we want to go press approach. Let's go activate approach mode. Confirm. Maybe I should have done that after Lindy, but I'm just on my own. At constraint speed. F220 up. So now I can start slowing down. Lindy is 5,000. Speed is checked, we'll go flaps 1. Descending to 5,000 now. A bit of a wider picture that I can select altitudes when I need to. Once we pass Lindy, I can press approach. Just this button. That's 700 to go for altitude alerts. More speed managed. $4,000 and approach nav. Keep our descent going. Okay, we'll go move this selector already. Whoa, that's one hell of a wind shear. Okay, 3,600. We have too much energy. Final approach. Gear down. Flaps 2. Next altitude 2,700. Oh. Alright, we are ready. Flaps 3. Get configured. Speeds check, flaps full. Alright, we are stable again. We were a little bit edgy there, but this is exactly like what it should look like. Speed is managed. We have auto thrust.
2,500.
Checked. And what we are expecting. 2,700 right there. Next is 2,000 platform altitude. Rebo 2 miles. What? Sorry.
2,000.
Checked, and we'll go cabin ready. Landing checklist. We'll get our nose lights. Gear down, flap set, auto brake, low. Forgot that one. It's ready. And then we want to be on our vertical profile once we get past Rebo, which is our final approach fix. Point 4, 3, 1. Right, we can start our descent. The runway inside, right there. Maybe a little bit steep on that approach. A little low, we can use the guidance there as a guide what we should have. Looks like we're to the right, but it's telling me that I have to turn left, so it doesn't make sense. I'm just gonna follow visual cues. On final. Oh, let's get auto brake medium, by the way. It's a short runway. Then at least I know for sure that I can stop. Hand on the throttle. Looks like we're a little high on the profile. We have to believe these puppies. Stable, and our missed approach altitude is set. Looks like we're still a little bit.
100, 50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 10, 5.
Oh, that was a hard one. Reversers green. And full reverse. Flare was good, but we fell a bit. Manual braking. Idle reverse. And we'll vacate next left. Alright. Welcome to San Diego. And we will immediately get off this runway and start looking at our replays because I really want to see. I really want to see how we did, even though it might not be the best. I think you will enjoy. Alright, and that looks like we are clear off the runway. Let's go into replay mode. Really? There is a fence? Fast forward a little bit. You can see there's our airplane. Well clear of those power lines I was talking about. Oh, and it's gonna be a hard one. I flared a little high there. You can see I flared high. Yeah, let's call that a positive landing. A positive landing, that's what that was. Nothing more, nothing less. Positive landings are a good thing. Especially on a short runway. So, all according to plan there. See what our tower friends see. With the nice San Diego skyline in the background there. On short final. I would say that's good enough. I didn't break anything. Yeah, there it is. slightly high flare, and then a firm touch. Well, that's the one I want. And it's an Airbus A321, they're not the easiest to land. If you want to see some really, really good landings that I did, compared to this one, my other Airbus videos, I really did, I managed Ron Butter on stream, and I did, most of them are either acceptable or good, or very good. But this one was hard, yeah. I guess. And then we vacate. Alright, and let's make this a very easy after landing checks. We'll go landing lights. Oh, maybe stop first. Or we turn off landing light, off nose light to taxi. Strobe automatic. This all as required. Mode selector is required. Weather radar off. Transponder. The transponder flaps up. And disarm the speed brake. And then we can start the APU. And we can taxi in. We are going to, let's say, I've been to San Diego before, and I think we parked over the other side of the A terminal. So, is it, or was it the other one? Terminal 1 maybe. You know what? I absolutely cannot remember where Frontier parks their airplanes. Oh, it's gonna be Terminal 1. Yes, for sure. So let's go there. I remember now. This gives us a bit of time because we needed to get our APU started. Flap is open. Let's start the APU. And once we can get that up, we can switch off one of the engines and burn a lot less fuel. Get back onto that taxiway there. A bit of like they drive in Marseille. We are flying our plane a bit like they drive in Marseille. Huh? It's not so far. But anyway, we do it. Marseille, it's a beautiful city in France. I know some people from there. And that's Terminal 1, and we want to get into the first sector there. No, let's make it the next one. I messed up. I should have taken that one, but it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Get in there, and then in there, that's the plan. Or we can take that one. I think we might have had this stand or the other one. Doesn't matter. I know Frontier goes Terminal 1, so... Oh, our brakes are hot. Let's get our brake fan on. Okay, we have APU available. Let's turn on our Apu Bleed. Then we can keep our airflow going. Then shut down number 2. So engine number 2 shut down. And I did shut it down. I have the switches in real life. That's why you didn't see me actually switch it off. And let's turn off our taxi light as well. Get straight in here. Slow it down, nice and gentle. No marshaller today. That's unfortunate. Now I wonder, do we have a pushback, a jet bridge that actually works? I doubt it. Let's cheat a bit and see if we're actually on the line. We're a bit off with our mains. Let's get on this line. Okay, I want to stay out here because it's really enough difficulties already. Let's stop right here. Maybe continue up to the first line. I think we will fit, and then the jet bridge might be a bit better off connecting. Hopefully. Alright. Parking brake set, checked, engine 1 off. And seatbelt signs off. Alright, set our timer, stop. And we can go beacon light off. All fuel pumps off. Request ground power. Available, and then switch off our APU. The rest I'm gonna leave on. We are gonna pretend that this airplane still has to go somewhere. Actually, we don't have a jet bridge that's working, so that's unfortunate. In that case, let's call up ground handling, and I will wave you all goodbye in just 1 second. There, ground handling is pulling up as we speak. Driving up nicely. Well, alright, I hope you all really enjoyed the stream. I did enjoy flying today with you. If you do like stuff like this, consider liking and subscribing, then you can know when I do more of this stuff. It will pop up right in your feed, right there for you. By clicking that one button, you will save yourself a lot of work after. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment, tell me what you want to see, tell me what you want me to do. I will be listening to whatever you say in there, and I'll reply to you as soon as I can. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me today on this flight, and I will see you guys later. Bye bye.